A big hello and a very warm welcome to Brand Equity with me, Sonali Krishna. As you can see, I'm coming to you straight from the Cannes Lions 2019. And joining me right now is a very, very special guest. He's not only, one of the big, powerful CMOs, but he's also, our very own Indian countryman who's made it so big. So it's pride galore in terms of an Indian professional who's made it so big globally, but also the fact that this particular man has created so much value for this brand. And it's my pleasure today to be joined by none other than Raja Rajamannar, the Chief Marketing Officer of Mastercard Worldwide. Thank you so much, Raja. Truly a pleasure meeting with you once again right here in Cannes.
Thank you so much, Sonali. Always a pleasure meeting you.
And what a phenomenal year it's been for you personally and professionally. So this is going to be a fantastic opportunity for me to recount all the big successes, that have gone down for Mastercard and, of course, for you individually and professionally. So let me start with the big bold move that, that we saw with Mastercard earlier this year with the whole Sonic branding. The bold move to remove, the name from your logo and just have music talk to your potential customers. That's so interesting because in a world that we're living in today where marketers are talking a lot but doing very little, and nobody really is believes in nuanced marketing, so to speak. Everybody's in your face, interrupting you and trying to get more of your attention. So in such a landscape, your bold move to say, no, I'm going to remove Mastercard from there when, people are dying to get more and more of attention. I mean, bravo.
Thank you. That was actually probably one of the boldest moves.
Absolutely.
And you can imagine the discussion I would have with my CEO when I say, hey, I got a bright idea. Let's drop our name from our logo. That wasn't easy, but it was the right thing to do. There are two reasons why we have actually done it, right? First and foremost, when you look at the digital media, which is becoming more and more prevalent, the screen sizes are going down. When the screen size goes down, and when you're in a checkout environment, which is where you see most often Mastercard and the other network brands, the space is so small for each brand that the name Mastercard is barely legible to any consumer. So what's the point of having it? If I take it off, I can expand the logo to fill that space.
Right.
So the circles red and yellow now look slightly bigger. What happens? That's almost 15 to 20% optically more dominant, and appears to be, it's a kind of a little bit of an optical illusion,
right,
but looks much more prominent. To begin with, my colors are red and yellow.
Yeah.
Everyone else is blue, typically. Now my logo looks much bigger. So this is one big motivation for us. Second, Mastercard is no longer just a payments enabling technology company, but we are more a lifestyle brand. The less I emphasize on the card aspect of it, given the strong association between Mastercard and credit cards, though we don't issue a single credit card, it's important for me to really modernize the brand, contemporize it, stylize it, make it more aesthetically appealing. So when you drop the name now, it looks pretty cool. So that's the second. Most importantly, from a point of risk, do people recognize the brand without the name, just by looking at the logo without the name? The answer is yes, more than 80% of the people around the world. So I said, this is a blessing. So we have to go ahead and do it.
So how was the idea triggered?
So like good things, when you're having a bath, your brain starts working very well. So it's one of those, I guess. But on a serious note, what happens is we constantly look at how to get into the consumer landscape in a non-intrusive, non-annoying fashion, on the one hand. Second, Mastercard is a 50-year-old brand, right? And when it was created, the look and feel were pretty different. They were meant for a different environment and different times. Today, everything is minimalist. And we had to really, advance and evolve along that direction. And that's what we were trying to do. On the other hand, when you look at our music, that was fascinating. Probably that's the best experience for me since I have joined Mastercard in the last 6 years. So what we tried to do in this scenario is, 2 years back, actually this exercise started, when we are trying to see consumers are today bombarded by 5,000 messages every single day.
Absolutely.
They have learned to completely tune themselves out. Then they have got ad blocks. Then they go to ad-free content by paying subscription fees and all those good things. How do you then cut through? So we said one is experiences, so which is really working very well for us. The second part of it is now the emergence of voice as the primary mode of interfacing with the devices. So when you look at smart speakers, whether it's a Google Home or Alexa, there is no visual real estate. So though I have a fantastic brand logo, there is no way to show it, no place to show it. And if the interaction of the consumer is, hey Google, find something for me, or Alexa, what do I want, what do I need here? What happens is the only way that it can show up as a brand is through voice, otherwise you get disintermediated.
Okay.
So that's an important consideration. And it's not just these smart speakers, you got connected cars, and that wave is coming. Then you got Internet of Things. So talking to your refrigerator, talking to your washing machine or dishwasher, and you're ordering things, you need to show up as a brand. So we said, how do you do it? And this we started 2 years back when we looked at the future scenario planning.
Right.
And we said, we have to do it. That was a humongous exercise. Now, I have been classically trained in Carnatic music when I was pretty young and grew up in a family of people who were singers and so on. So I said, okay, let me sort of try to see if it can be musical experience than just sound. It's not having a couple of notes, but can we create the music of Mastercard?
Sure.
So we started that way. So working with various music composers, musicologists, and musicians around the world, we created a 30-second melody. The 30-second melody is what, it's basically our core of the DNA of our sonic brand. So what this is, it's very neutral in terms of it doesn't dominate a situation, but it supports a situation. It's very pleasant. It's memorable. Otherwise, there is no association between the brand and the music. And it is hummable. It's simple enough, and when you hum something, it sticks in your mind.
Right.
So that's one thing. It has to be highly versatile, whether I'm playing it in India, or in Bogota, Colombia, or I play it in Dubai, whichever part of the world, it should feel native.
Sure.
It should be adaptable to every situation, whether you're in a rugby World Cup situation, or you're in a movie situation, or it's a romantic evening dinner somebody is having. It has to fit in everywhere. So I told the agency we need to come up with a melody like this. And of course, they looked at me like I had 3 heads. But then we cracked the code. It took us nearly 2 years. And finally, we came up with that melody. Then we started looking at that and saying 3 seconds of it, which is a subset, will be our sonic signature, which is every ad of ours will end with that 3-second sonic signature. The melody will play in our, obviously as a background to our ads or in our sponsorships, in our events, and so on and so forth. We even have ringtones or music on hold. All that is sonic melody. Then sonic signature. Finally, a subset of the sonic signature, which is 1.3 seconds, is our acceptance sound.
Okay.
Whenever you use your MasterCard, either in a physical environment or in a digital environment, when the transaction goes through successfully, you hear the sound of MasterCard.
Okay. Okay.
So these three, they start working together and building upon each other. And that's what we went and launched. And we have also worked with some of the best known artists like Camila Cabello. Her song Havana has been, I believe, one of the most downloaded songs ever.
Yeah.
And then Mike Shinoda, who is the co-founder of Linkin Park and a phenomenal inventor in the world of music and so on. So we did all
You
that
really
good stuff.
wicked, Raja.
Yeah, absolutely. We had fun, right? And we created that, and the initial impact is really terrific. It's coming through very well.
Yeah. And what was the, the reaction in the marketplace post the launch?
Extremely positive.
Okay.
What we have done is internally did a lot of soul searching and very frank critiquing.
Sure.
So we said, for example, if I'm a Walmart clerk, people are checking out. And each time they're checking out, the MasterCard sound is coming. And I hear that sound 200 times, 300 times a day. How would I feel? Will I go crazy? Will I go nuts or not, right? And that's important. So we had done actually research in neurosciences, saying that what sounds fatigue you more?
Oh.
What sounds not? So there's a lot of science behind it, on the one hand. Second, we also said that variety is very critical. So for example, I cannot have the same acceptance sound at Walmart compared to Tiffany's. They have to be it has to be contextually appropriate. Same thing with our sonic melody. It'll be different in different countries. You can make out it's the same one, but they're completely tailored to the local environment, local culture, local context.
Oh, really?
Yes, absolutely.
So you're saying that your signature tune will be different, will be the same broadly, but will be customized to local nuances.
Correct. Completely. So we already have now more than 20 different versions of our sonic melody for different situations in different countries. We have got almost the same number of different acceptance sounds, and we are now creating songs. So these will be
Songs?
proper songs with the DNA of MasterCard. It doesn't sound like a MasterCard corporate anthem.
Okay.
It's a proper music.
It's like a music video you'll release.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We have started work on that.
Wow. And
And
how will you weave in the MasterCard element?
the sonic DNA will be subtly present, but that's
Wow.
it. And we already created 2 of those songs, and we are sort of fine-tuning them and refining them, and hope to release our first album in the next 12 months.
Okay, wow. And what will this achieve?
Beautiful point. What's the point of doing all this, right? The key thing for us is, if advertising is not the way to go, and you have to connect with consumers in ways that they care about and in ways that they are not annoyed about or irritated about, music is one of the best passions for consumers.
Absolutely, but I want to just stop you there for
Sure.
a moment. Because why do you want to connect with consumers? We're not directly interacting with you anyway.
At this point in time.
Right.
But that has already started changing.
Okay.
So for example, we have priceless cities,
Yeah.
where we are curating experiences that you can buy on MasterCard website, where your interaction is directly with MasterCard. We have just launched our first restaurant. It's not a pop-up restaurant, but it's a real restaurant in Rome International Airport.
Oh. It's
Right.
called the MasterCard restaurant.
It's called Bistro by MasterCard.
Oh.
Okay, it's very high-tech, and it looks very cool, and it's a gourmet food curated by Chef Michelangelo.
Wow.
And so typically, the experience that you have when you go to an airport for food is not great.
Oh, why are you doing this, Raja? Is what I'm trying to understand. Like, why are you being out there and trying to connect so much with the end consumer when you're currently in a B2B space?
Correct. The key thing is, I want to generate pull from the consumers.
Ah, okay.
When the consumers see that you have got all these fancy and fantastic experiences that you can get only with a MasterCard, the likelihood that you will tell your bank, say that, you know what, I would rather prefer MasterCard, will help me in turn win my B2B business.
Ah,
All right? So this is one part of it.
sure, okay.
Second, the way we are actually looking at these restaurants, etc., and I'll tell you how we are trying to do it, why we are doing it.
Sure, yeah.
If I have to register my brand in people's minds strongly as a good brand, as a progressive brand,
Right.
we need to find ways of engaging them.
Yeah.
One is through technology,
Of
which
course.
we are deploying all over the place. The second is we did something called passion point study, which means what do people truly care about very deeply? That we call it a passion point.
Sure.
There are 10 passion points:
Okay.
music, sports, culinary, so on and so forth. Culinary is the fastest growing category,
Oh,
where people are getting involved in food quite a lot.
right.
So that's when we said, okay, we need to now get into this space. How do you do it? So we started piloting studies. So in the United States, we started something called priceless tables. We started actually with the first one was on a billboard. We put a huge platform,
Okay.
put a dining table there. And we had a Michelin-starred chef who was serving them dinner and lunch. So you sit on
What do you
top
mean, on
of
the
a billboard,
billboard?
on the billboard in Times Square.
Wow.
So that's a reaction of consumers. Wow, right? When we opened the bookings, they just got sold off in a matter of few seconds, right? And then you have it. And then we started expanding it. So we do hundreds of priceless tables
But
now.
is it because you're also looking to get into the whole this event zone, as in this experience zone?
Big time.
So you have now two models. You're one that you're an enabler of payments, and B, you're an experience company.
You should look at it in two ways.
Okay.
As a technology company,
Okay.
we are an enabler of payments.
Yeah.
So we provide the platforms for the banks and for the merchants. As a brand, we are a lifestyle brand. The reason why you will go for a particular payment product is to realize a particular lifestyle that you aspire.
Okay.
So there is a solid connection and relation between the two. So when you look at these experiences, the whole idea is if you have a MasterCard, you get a great lifestyle.
Sure.
Whatever you define that as your great lifestyle is. And so culinary is a big area for us. So when we started with these priceless tables, and hundreds of them we have done, the experience is consumers' loyalty and preference clearly shift to my brand. They say, wow, this experience is mind-blowing, and I would like to have more of this. And we keep on doing this on and off.
Sure.
Then we advanced it to the next stage. We piloted with a pop-up restaurant in Milan.
Wow.
And we said, how does that sound? Can we really do it on a sustainable basis as opposed to doing it for 3 days, 4 days? We ran it for 6 months.
Wow.
It worked very well. And when customers go back and we say, okay, tell us the brands which are at the top of your mind, and which brands do you like most, and what are the brands most relevant to your lifestyle. All the right associations are coming with MasterCard. So we said, okay, that accomplishes the thing. So if I shift a part of my advertising budget to curate these experiences, that would be fantastic.
So you are clearly one of the few marketers that I have met who is practicing the fact that advertising the traditional route no more works. While we hear a lot, even in Cannes, there is so much jargon that's being used every year, some dead, some new, but you don't see many people actually putting their money where their mouth is, right? So, you're really pushing the envelope in terms of trying new things out. How would you say, your market share has changed with all of this effort?
Firstly, I think MasterCard has been gaining market share in the category of payments, clearly,
Sure.
around the world.
Yeah.
And likewise, if you look at the brand as well, a few years back, we were 87 on Brand Z rankings. This year, we're at 12. So we moved up. So substantial, almost 75 points, we moved up.
Yeah.
In the US, which is probably the most competitive and intense marketplace, where if things go wrong, we are in trouble.
Absolutely.
But there, we have become a top 10 brand.
So what, have you completely moved out of the traditional space where you do the good old TVC, or you do what today people are calling digital content, which is essentially a TVC on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or whatever? It's the same thing. It's just we're just fancifying it in different ways. So have you completely moved out of it?
No, we have not completely moved out. It's a combination, right?
Okay.
So in the past, if it was 100% traditional channels,
Yeah.
now we have moved a significant portion out of that
Okay.
into the non-traditional experiential route.
How much would that be?
We don't reveal the numbers, but it is pretty substantial.
Okay.
So what will happen as a result of that is we are curating the experiences, but I need to let people know that these experiences are available.
Yeah, that's true.
And TV still today has got big reach. If I can cut through the clutter and communicate to the consumer, at least, hey, here is my experience that is available that you might want to go and avail
Sure.
of,
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah.
So the role of each one of these channels is dramatically changing, but my mix is moving more and more year after year towards experiences.
And what would your experience be in terms of investment in digital, or rather social media? Right? What has been your experience? Are you satisfied with the investments you've made and the deliveries you've got in return? Are you satisfied with the efficiency levels, or do you think the kind of inefficiencies that this particular beast is throwing up is far more than is being actually captured?
Digital is pretty messed up
Yeah.
in many ways, right?
Yeah.
On the one hand, does it work? Yes, it works. If it is targeted the right way, if you have gone past the ad blocks in an appropriate way, and you have cut through the clutter, conveyed your message effectively. So video is a little bit more effective than a banner, for example.
Absolutely.
But to your earlier point, it cannot just be something you produced for TV and now you're showing it in the digital channel. It just doesn't work because the dynamics are completely different. Having said that, the ROIs are absolutely worthwhile.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Now then, why do I say it is messed up? Is because brand safety is an issue.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's something which is probably better today than it was a year and a half or
That's
2 years
true.
back,
Yeah.
but far from fixed, number one. Number two, the visibility of your ad, the transparency of what you are getting for what you are paying. There are a lot of things. For example, right now, there are people in the value chain in a significant number that almost 40 to 45% of your entire advertising dollars go to the middleman. There are counters and verifiers if you were to really see how they're operating, right? So hopefully with technologies down the line like blockchains when they come, you realize those efficiencies which can plow back into the media dollars. But right now the messed up part of it is there is a lot of inefficiency. There's a lot of absence of trust to the extent that there has to be there, it's not there. Then you have got brand safety issue, which is a huge one. And so those have to be fixed, and therefore I say the situation is a bit messy. So we are moving in the right direction. Progress is being made. So with my role with the WFA as its president, or even I'm on the board of
Yeah.
directors
Many
of
congratulations
ANA.
on that one, by the
Thank
way.
you so much. Thank you. And being on the board of ANA as well, which is another huge association, we are rallying together as a CMO community. and saying that we have to hold the social media companies accountable for brand safety. Not only brand safety from a brand point of view, but also societal safety.
Yeah, sure.
You don't want repeats of the likes of Christchurch shootings being live streamed.
Yeah.
So we don't want those kind of things.
Raja, as a marketer, you're clearly on the roll. But if I had to look at your peers and look at the CMO role per se, and you talked about absence of trust, there's also an absence of trust with that role itself. And what do you think, and how is that role being perceived in organizations today? And is it even relevant anymore? And how long do you think this title of CMO will continue, like in the foreseeable future?
That's actually a painful question, but a very fair question, right? I have been saying this. CMOs have an existential threat.
For sure.
Right? Unfortunately, many CMOs have come up the route of the creative side, right? They're not very comfortable in the new age of digital, of data, or ROI measurements, metrics, understanding the business model, and understanding the links between the marketing actions and the business outcomes. So when the CEOs and the CFOs are under pressure and they're asking questions fairly tough, saying that, okay, I'm giving you tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, what exactly are you delivering? And if you look like a deer caught in headlights, that's end of not only your credibility, your function's credibility. Large companies have actually eliminated the role of CMOs.
Yeah, like Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. No, it's not some industrial company if it is doing it. So when you have large companies like Coca-Cola, Hershey's, Kraft, they're doing away with the role of CMO and replacing them with Chief Revenue Officer, Chief Growth Officer, Chief Customer Officer. Then what is the CMO supposed to do with all these areas to begin with, right? So in fact, what we are doing through ANA, for example, we formed this CMO Growth Council. And we have streams that we are working on. So one is on talent. Do we have the right talent? And how do you make sure that the existing talent is retrained for future? CMOs don't necessarily understand technology. And many CMOs have bigger technology budgets than their corresponding CTOs in those companies. How do you make sure that we give CMOs a playbook on technology? How do you give them a playbook on data? How do you share with them the best practices and bring everyone up the curve? So as an industry, we are rallying together as CMOs collectively. We started this last year at Cannes with 25 CMOs.
Oh, okay.
So today we got about 1,000 CMOs who are in this effort. And that's a huge effort. And I feel very good that when we start supporting each other, when we start collaborating, we're not competing on the data platforms and on technology platforms, but we are really competing on the aspects that we should, which is understanding the consumers, positioning your brand appropriately, engaging them in the right way, and so on. The enablement should be actually a given for every CMO in any industry, in any company. So that's what we are striving to do. We've got a long journey ahead. And also one more thing, if I can add.
Of course.
We're also working to try and see how we can bring back the glamour, the stature, and the gravitas of marketing back even to the colleges.
Yeah.
So during the days when I passed out, 1985, marketing was one of the most desirable fields that you would want to get into. Today it is not. So how do you really make it a more desirable function once again?
Why did it lose its stature?
Essentially, the digital revolution has somehow shifted the control away from marketing. And now if you look at most of the ad tech companies, most of the martech companies, they're all run by technologists, not marketers. And that phase, that whole area, both of data and as well as digital technologies, is so complex and technical that many of the creative CMOs were not able to get their heads around. And therefore, they sort of literally handed over things. And that's what I would say, even if I'm being a bit dramatic, that's a reality, right? And now the thing is to take things back into the hands of the marketing folks and drive everything collectively. So in order to attract new talent, we have formed a coalition with an ANA called MADE, M-A-D-E. So this is about a program where we are going to colleges, and as CMOs, we're going and spending time giving guest lectures, giving case studies to those universities and so on, taking interns, but give interns not some menial projects like go and do competitive analysis and compile competition data. That's not the kind of project. These young kids are so bright, they can do phenomenally. So we're giving them meaningful, significant projects.
Okay.
And at the end of it, if they are good, we immediately take them. So like, for example, last year, we had hired 2 people in Mastercard's own program I'm talking about. and they are turning out to be fantastic. And every company is actually doing it. This is more in the US, but we are going to expand globally through the WFA route as well at this point in time. And I have also asked, for example, some other professors to come and shadow me. I said, look, when you graduated, when you have been a practicing marketer, life was very different. Today it's very different. You had to come and see real life, shadow me for a couple of weeks, be in every meeting, check out how the life of a CMO is today.
Hey, may I do that?
Of course you can.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'd love to
Yes.
do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Please do that. I'll more than welcome you. It'll be a fascinating experience, I can guarantee you.
Lastly, Raja, before I let you go, many congratulations on bagging the Marketer of the Year. Also, late in 2018. And the fact that you became president and your brand valuations have gone up significantly, and of course this really brave move with your sonic branding. So all in all, a very, very colorful and successful innings for MasterCard. I love the fact that you're going out of your comfort zone in this space and really pushing the envelope. I think it's a lesson for all marketers back at home as well who are listening to this interview. Thank you so much for your time, and hope to see you shortly again in India.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.